and welcome to Firstpost Live, where we bring you the day's top 4 stories from across the world. I am Gushin Garland, live from the Firstpost studios. Let's begin with the headlines. Federal agents engage in heavy clashes with protesters and fire tear gas in Chicago following US President Donald Trump's directive to bolster federal law enforcement for crime prevention in the city. NATO defense ministers meet in Brussels to discuss support for Ukraine and the alliance border defense after multiple drone incursions across Europe. South Korea bars travel to parts of Cambodia after reports of illegal confinement of its nationals via job scams. Seoul to send a team to Cambodia to discuss job scam centers. India's top court permits use of less polluting firecrackers in New Delhi during the Diwali festival, easing a blanket ban even as the capital battles unhealthy winter air pollution. And Kenyan opposition leader Raila Odinga passes away at the age of 80 due to a cardiac arrest during a health visit to India. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi pays tribute. Hello and welcome. We start with updates from Pakistan-Afghanistan border, where tensions continue to simmer. Fresh clashes broke out between the two sides at dawn on Wednesday. Afghan officials say at least 15 civilians have been killed and dozens wounded in the latest fighting. Meanwhile, Pakistan's military said around 20 Taliban fighters were killed in the clashes. The latest clashes have erupted in the southern Afghan district of Boldak. The Taliban government has accused Pakistani forces of launching fresh attacks with light and heavy weapons in the region. The statement did not mention any Taliban casualties, but said calm had returned to the area after Pakistani soldiers were killed and posts and weapons were seized. Clashes also occurred along the border in Pakistan's Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province on Tuesday. Pakistan claims a key commander of the band, Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan or TTP, was killed in the operation. However, no such report has been confirmed by the Taliban. Meanwhile, a deputy police spokesperson in Afghanistan's Khost province also confirmed clashes in the region but declined to share further details. This was the second major confrontation between the two sides this week. Violence between the two neighbors flared since explosions in Afghanistan last week, including 2 in Kabul. The Taliban says the explosions were a result of airstrikes carried out by Pakistan. Afghanistan says it launched an operation in at least 5 provinces along its border with Pakistan in retaliation to the strikes in Kabul. Following this, Islamabad vowed a strong response of its own on Sunday. The standoff intensified, with border clashes and heavy casualties were reported on both sides. Pakistan claims to have killed over 200 Taliban and affiliated fighters in the strikes. Afghan Taliban forces claim to have killed 58 Pakistani soldiers, while Pakistan claimed its losses stood at 23. Islamabad accuses Afghanistan of harboring the Pakistani Tehreek-e-Taliban or the TTP, a group accused of killing hundreds of Pakistani soldiers since 2021. Kabul, however, has repeatedly denied Islamabad's claims. Amid the continuing clashes, residents in border areas have been forced to flee their homes.
This fighting has been going on since early morning, and the people who live close to the border are leaving the area. These people are coming from Kil Luqman and Bagsha. They are worried. Both countries are requested to stop this war. People are in a very difficult situation. Shells are falling in homes.
Despite appeals from Saudi Arabia and Qatar to de-escalate tensions, the clashes have continued. Earlier, US President Donald Trump said he was willing to mediate between Pakistan and Afghanistan, calling himself a quote-unquote expert at resolving wars and establishing peace. Meanwhile, China urged both sides to exercise restraint and ensure the safety of Chinese personnel, projects and institutions in the region. Beijing stated that both nations were its friends and neighbors and added that peaceful coexistence and cooperation are in their long-term interests. The latest border exchange once again underscored the fragile nature of Pakistan-Afghanistan ties, where security concerns, militancy and mistrust continue to fuel instability. Both governments are yet to issue an official statement on Wednesday's confrontation, But the situation along the frontier remains tense. Now shifting focus to Gaza. As calls intensify for Hamas to disarm itself, the group released a disturbing video showing what appears to be a public execution. In the undated clip, armed forces are seen standing behind a group of blindfolded kneeling men as a crowd of onlookers gathers around them. The footage ends with gunfire and claims that the executed men were quote-unquote collaborators of Israel and outlaws of executed in Gaza City. The clip, which quickly circulated online, is being widely condemned. The timing of the release is significant. It comes just days after Israel began a partial troop withdrawal from the enclave, part of the broader peace plan brokered by President Donald Trump. Under the agreement, Hamas released all living hostages it had held since deadly October 7, 2023 attack 2 years ago. In return, Israel freed nearly 2,000 Palestinians from its prisons. Israel has also confirmed receiving remains of 8 deceased hostages held by Hamas. But even as the deal moves forward, questions remain over whether Hamas will lay down its arms in the coming future. And that, President Trump says, is non-negotiable. In remarks at the White House, Trump struck a tough tone on the future role of Hamas in Gaza.
Well, they're going to disarm, and because they said they were going to disarm. And if they don't disarm, we will disarm them.
Trump claims the U.S. has communicated clearly to Hamas that they must disarm, and that the group had agreed to lay down its arms during peace negotiations.
We have told them we want to disarm, and they will disarm. And if they don't disarm, we will disarm them. And it'll happen quickly and perhaps violently. But they will disarm. Do you understand me?
Yes, you say
because
quickly.
you always, everyone says, oh, well, they won't disarm. They will disarm. And I spoke to Hamas, and I said, you're going to disarm, right? Yes, sir, we're going to disarm. That's what they told me. They will disarm or we will disarm them. Got it? Okay.
Earlier, the State Department also echoed the same message, that Hamas must be disarmed to be eliminated as a threat. Meanwhile, Israel has said it will closely monitor Hamas's actions on the ground, warning that sign of rearmament would be met with decisive force.
First, I want to say that Hamas today is not the Hamas of 2 years ago. Hamas has been defeated everywhere we fought them. We are in a completely different place now. The IDF is deployed deep inside the Gaza Strip. The yellow line you saw, which we presented earlier, is a line deep within Gaza territory. We are prepared to defend the citizens of the State of Israel everywhere and from anywhere.
A rare moment of calm in Gaza is hanging by a thread. The central question now is whether Hamas will actually follow through. For millions in Gaza still grappling with reconstruction, loss and years of war, the stakes couldn't be higher. We'll keep track of all the updates. Now moving on to the latest from Madagascar. The military has taken power in the East African island nation. This after lawmakers impeached President Andry Rajoelina, who fled the country following days of anti-government protests led by Gen Z. The military says it will rule Madagascar for up to 2 years alongside a transitional government before organizing new elections. The army has dissolved all institutions except the lower house of parliament, the National Assembly.
We made the decision because, as I have explained several times, nothing is working in Madagascar. There is no president of the Senate, no government. Nothing is working. So we have to take responsibility. That's it.
Will you hold elections?
Of course. In 18 months at the earliest, 24 months at the latest.
So this is a transitional government?
That's right, yeah.
Rajoelina had refused to step down despite escalating demonstrations demanding his resignation. In an address to the nation on Monday, he said he was in an unknown location, claiming his life had been threatened. President Rajoelina was impeached by lower house on Tuesday for deserting of duty. Later, the CAPSAT military unit announced it was in charge. Mass celebrations erupted on the streets after the military's announcement. In the capital, Antananarivo, thousands marched, danced, sang and waved banners denouncing Rajoelina as a French stooge. They criticized his dual citizenship and ties to Madagascar's former colonizer.
They're really interfering with our personal affairs. There's no more state sovereignty, the French are still there. And secondly, our president applied for French nationality, and that's how he was able to leave here.
It feels like we've just been released from prison. We know very well all the harm he has done. I'm truly relieved that Andry Rajoelina is no longer in power. This is also a message to his successor. Learn from this and don't make the same mistakes.
Now, demonstrations first erupted on September 25 over water and power shortages. They quickly escalated into a broader uprising against corruption, poor governance and lack of basic services. The United Nations reports at least 22 people were killed, though the government denied the figures. The anger mirrored recent youth protests in Kenya, Nepal, Morocco and Indonesia. The protests took a turn over the weekend when the elite CAPSAT unit joined the demonstrations. This is the same unit that played a major role in the 2009 coup that first brought Rajoelina to power. Madagascar, an Indian Ocean island nation, has experienced turbulent political history since independence from France in 1960. Despite rich natural resources, 3/4 of its 30 million people live in poverty. Public frustration has deepened over unfulfilled promises under Rajoelina's rule. The military takeover marks a new chapter in Madagascar's political turmoil, leaving the future of the island nation uncertain. And finally, on to our last story. In India, the Diwali shopping surge has hit a glitch as the new Apple iPhone 17 series has run out of stock in several offline stores. Offline retailers across Indian cities are witnessing iPhone 17 shortages amid soaring demand. This has sparked frustration among sellers who blame the company's import strategy for the disruption. Retailers say they are turning away several customers daily due to the shortage and are calling it a missed sales opportunity during the festive season. So what's behind these shortages? Despite India setting new records for iPhone exports, the new 17 series are still primarily imported. This reliance on imports has created limited stock availability in offline retail stores across the country. Second, this is a distribution problem. Retailers claim that stock allocation has been uneven, with company-owned stores and e-commerce platforms receiving priority. This year, Apple has allocated less inventory to third-party retailers, leaving them scrambling to meet demand. Then there is high festive demand. The iPhone 17 is a hot item for the Diwali season in India. Analysts predict that total iPhone shipments in the third quarter could exceed 5 million units, with the iPhone 17 series contributing significantly to this increase. Apple launched the iPhone 17 series globally in September, with CEO Tim Cook unveiling the new models. Stores across India witnessed unprecedented queues. Customers camped overnight, waiting for hours, and even scuffled for early access. But this shortage pattern in India mirrors a global crunch. Markets in the US, Europe, and other parts of Asia are also reportedly struggling to get high-end models. However, experts note that Made in India units may soon ease the pressure. The iPhone 17 Pro models produced locally are expected to roll out soon, which could relieve the supply crunch across retail networks. But for this festive season, the iPhone 17 might be testing the patience of customers and retailers. That's all we have for today. Thank you for joining us. I am Gusheen Galan, and we'll see you right back here at the same time. Until then, stay informed and stay tuned to Firstpost.